Hello everyone, today I'm going to explain you the basics of Blender, and make your learning more easier. We're going to learn about the UI and the tools bar. In next videos I will show you how to make simple shapes and other things like texturing or rigging. Well now, let's start with the video. When you open Blender, you'll see this window here. For now we will not use it, so close the window by left-clicking on it. First, to move the camera, you can click the middle mouse, and holding it while you move the mouse. Something like this. Good. Another way to move the camera is holding middle mouse while press left shift. This time, the camera does not rotates, as you can see in this example. You can do it too by clicking on this hand at the left top of the screen, and moving the mouse. If you feel that the model is too far from the camera, you can zoom by scrolling down or up the middle mouse. Easy, right? Maybe the camera motion can be confusing at the beginning, but with practice, you will get the trick. Well now, let's talk a little bit of the UI. At the top of the window, you can see that there is something that says Layout, Modeling, Sculpting, etc. The layout is where we're going to modellate our things. The modeling section is the same that layout, the only thing that changes is that there is no timeline. In sculpting we can literally sculpt our model, but requires extra steps and it's more complicated than normal modeling. So we're not going to use it for a while. In UV editing, we can put textures over the model, and edit them with this toolbar at the left. In Texture Paint we can paint our own texture. If you want, I can make a tutorial about that. Next, we have the shading window. Here we can create materials for our models by adding nodes. In animation, we can animate our model. Yeah, sorry for being redundant. Next, we have the rendering section. When we have finished our model, we can render it and see the result in this window. Well, I don't really know so much about the next three sections, because I don't use them so much. But you can investigate them on your own, since I understand you can do very interesting things with them. Another important thing is the File section. Here you can save, open, or create a project. You can open a recent model that you were working to. You can also recover a project that you lost for any reason. I recommend save your model constantly by pressing Ctrl+S to avoid losing it. Well, for now let's get back to the layout section. There is something cool that you can do for customize your workspace. First, put the cursor on one side of this square and hold left click. Now, move the mouse. The square makes higher or smaller depending where you move the mouse. You can adjust the size of the squares to make your workspace more pleasant to you. Now, if you accidentally close this squares, don't worry, you can create another. Just go to one corner of the window and hold left click. Now, go to this line, and make a right click. You can divide the window in different sections. For example, I will make a vertical split right here. And now, just press join areas for close the squares that you don't want in the window. Perfect. Now, if I go to this grid at the left top of the square and I click on it, we're going to see a lot of options. But, if you look the names, you will realize that they are the same of the previous sections that we visited before. I mean these sections at the top of the window. If I click UV Editor for example, you'll see the same grid that we saw before in the UV Editor section. But for now, I'm going to put the outliner here and below the properties. Alright, now let's talk about the toolbar on the left side of the screen. For now, I'm going to explain the three essential tools: Move, Rotate, and Scale. But first, we need to understand something called axes. They are three: X, Y, and Z. To keep it simple, the X-axis controls left and right. The Z-axis controls up and down, and the Y-axis controls forward and backward. Now, if I select the cube and then click the Move tool, you'll see 3 arrows appear, each one representing one of the axes we just mentioned. To move the cube, click one of the arrows and drag your mouse. As you can see, if I grab the red arrow, the cube only moves left or right. That's because we're modifying the X-axis only. The same logic applies to the green and blue arrows for the Y and Z axes. If you want to move the object freely in all directions, click and drag the white circle in the center. This lets you move it across all 3 axes at once. Now here's a tip to work faster. Most tools in Blender have keyboard shortcuts. If you forget them, just hover your mouse over the Tools button. A small pop-up will appear showing the shortcut, super useful for saving time. Okay, now the Rotation tool. It's used to spin objects. Select one of the circles, and the object spins. The keyboard shortcut in this case is the letter R. Finally, we have the Scale tool. This is used to change the size of the model. As you can see in this example, modifying the scale on X, we can get a kind of rectangle. The shortcut is the letter S. That's the 3 principal tools that you must learn at the beginning. Now, another keyboard shortcut that is very important in Blender, is the Ctrl+C shortcut. It's very useful when you make mistakes and you want to solve them faster. For example, I'm going to move my cube here. And then here. Alright, if I press Ctrl+Z, you'll see that the cube come back to the previous position. Other example, if I delete by accident my model, just press the combination and the model will appear in the viewport again. For delete objects faster, just press the letter X, and click on delete. Now, in Blender there are no just cubes, there are other shapes that we can create by default. For that, press Shift+A. A menu will appear. Go to Mesh and select the shape that you want to create. Personally, my favorite is Suzanne. Well, you can see that I have some objects in the scene. If I want to delete all the meshes, I can go to the outliner, and then select everything by pressing Ctrl plus left click. But for be more efficient, you can press A to select everything in the scene. Now just press X and delete everything. If there is an object that you don't want to delete, select the object while you hold Shift. And we're done. Alright, I think this is everything you need to know at the beginning to start in Blender. Remember, if you're starting over zero, it's normal feel that this is too complicated. But my job here is show you that it isn't the truth. In next video, I'm going to explain you how to create your own shapes and other things. Hope my explication were helpful for you. Goodbye.